Sometimes you think it's a good day and you've had a great time out on the water, and then all of a sudden things go wrong, your day turns bad. Kind of like some of the stories we're about to see. Welcome back guys, it is your boy Broncos Guru, and it's this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. Our first incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to France, where we're about to see one of the more wild scenes we've seen this year. And that's where about 20 boats moored to a pontoon in the town of Douai were washed away by flooding on the Lot River. The townspeople were unable to stop them, and with nobody on board, the boats were left adrift, which has created a wild scene down on the river as several of these boats have partially sunk, some have struck the hydroelectric dam, some have gone over locks, and some are lodged on bridges, which is creating massive chaos in the rescue operation of these vessels as they're a little bit all over the place up and down the river. Some vessels can't even be located due to the fact that they've sunk. These vessels were all stationed in Douai as they were all owned by the local company La Boat Douai, which specialized in renting these vessels for personalized river cruises down the Lot River. Currently, local rescue crews are doing everything they can to try and take an account of the vessels that are on the river, and fortunately at this time, other than property damages, there's been no injuries reported. Our next story to make the boating news this week is another wild one where onboard cameras capture the shocking moment that a 114-meter cargo ship was broken in two by huge waves off the Turkish Black Sea. This is the 47-year-old cargo vessel Arkin, and they were actually anchored just off the Turkey coast trying to catch safe harbor from this impending weather that was coming in. This is typically a story we would not report on here because I don't like reporting about loss of life at sea, and this vessel actually did have some crewmates that did not make this. From the moment this hull was breached, it took less than 5 minutes for this vessel to sink, which just shows you how fast even a ship this large can turn into something disastrous in the wrong conditions. Our next incident to make the boating news of the week is taking a shocking twist. I actually aired this video back this past Sunday on Boneheaded Boaters of the Week, where it's this gentleman here in New Zealand got fairly angry with another boater, and this is a pretty popularly circulated video on the internet right now. This gentleman can be seen arguing and screaming profanities at the other boater, and just basically showing a nice fit of rage. After local news media tried to reach out to this gentleman to discover who he was, it became apparent that they figured out that he was actually a convicted felon who served 8 years in prison for murder and was out on life on parole. After authorities learned of this boat rage incident down at the wharf, corrections actually applied to the parole board last week to have this person immediately recalled to prison on the grounds that he posed undue risk to public safety. The parole board did decline to immediately return the gentleman to prison, but now he must sit in front of them within the next 2 months to decide whether a recall order is necessary. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to be when somebody gets a lucky flyby. This is Roger Hunter and his crew aboard their vessel, the Pacific Star. They were out for a nice sail enjoying their day when they saw the New Zealand America's Cup boat off in the distance doing training. They opted to get a little closer to the vessel to go ahead and take a nicer look at it, but apparently the New Zealand vessel decided they wanted a little closer look at Roger Hunter and his crew as well. As you saw by that first incident where they did the flyby, here they're actually going to get a second flyby and a second shot of this vessel as well. This really is a unique experience for this crew as not many civilians will get to see these types of vessels this up close and personal while in action.
We are never going to get this close again.
Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to San Diego, California, where U.S. Coast Guard and Navy personnel in the San Diego area on Monday offloaded more than 10 tons of confiscated narcotics. These seized products were all received by crews aboard 4 military ships that were serving out in the eastern Pacific Oceans between October and December of this year. U.S. Coast Guard officials claim that they believe that this haul will actually be worth approximately $211 million on the black market. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening in your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Picasso West, Roger Hunter, and Mark Thomas did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on that subscribe button.